Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we will be going to discuss the most famous data science interview problem, which is being asked in almost every e-commerce company. The reason why this particular problem is famous as it provides an overview of customers' interest in their products and website. So without wasting any time, let's get started. Please make sure you watch the video till end to learn something new. And please subscribe to my channel if not already done yet, as I will be coming up with a lot more useful content. So let me just quickly walk you through with the data set which we have, and then probably like what is the ask of this particular problem statement we can discuss. So over here, as you can see, we are having like a customer health database, which is basically telling us the customer journey or like user journey, right? So basically, let's say we are having customer ID over here. We are having state. Basically, state defines over here is like a session start state and session end state, right? Basically, one represents session start state and zero represents session end state, right? And we are having a timestamp value as well, right? Now, the ask for this particular problem is we have to define the user's session logs on a particular day, right? And then further, we have to calculate for how many hours each user was active on that particular day, right? So since as you can see, we are having this customer ID over here, right? So as we can see, we are having unique 5 customer IDs, right? So for all these 5 customer IDs, we have to basically tell like for how much for how many hours that particular user or that particular customer was active on that particular website, right? So for that, basically over here, as we can see, we are having timestamp value. So for sure, like we will be using this in order to calculate like number of hours for that particular user was active, right? So let's see like what will be the approach for this particular problem. So since we basically need this data set at a customer ID level, so for sure we have to select customer ID, right? So for that, I will take cust ID, right? And apart from that, basically we are having timestamp as well, right? So over here, as you can see, we are having this timestamp, and this state like a column is nothing but basically state like that event start state and event end state, right? So for that, I will basically use this timestamp over here, right? And apart from that, can we quickly see like what is there in this particular data set, right? So let's observe the journey of this customer ID one over here, right? So since like one defines this like session start date and or start time, and zero defines session end time, right? So for this particular session had started on at 7 a.m., right? And this particular session had ended on 9:30 a.m., right? Similarly, basically the second session, right? So for second session, this would be the start time and this would be the end time, right? Similarly, for third session, this would be the start time and this would be the end time, right? Similarly, for fourth session, this would be the start time. And since we don't have any fourth session over here, so for fourth session, we don't have end time, right? So in order to basically have start time and end time, uh, can I say this thing like we can use Windows functions in SQL, right? Which is like advanced analytics functions, right? Which we can basically use to get like this particular timestamp value over here, right? So let me just quickly tell you like how we will get this particular value over here. So in SQL, we are having lead, right? Lead is nothing but basically it will give us the very next occurrence of that particular record, right? So let me just quickly show you how we will be able to get this. So I'm using lead over here. Lead of what? Lead of timestamp, right? And I will use over. I will use partition by, since we need this at every customer ID level. So I'm using partition by customer ID, right? Uh, yeah, so partition by customer ID. And we have to basically order this with timestamp value because like the very first occurrence of the timestamp should come first, right? So I'm using order by timestamp, right? And basically this will be my end time. right? So I am giving this alias as end time, right? And like this will be my start time. So I'm giving this as start time, right? Now let's run this and we'll show you what will be the output. And let me just take the original data set as well. So let me just quickly take select start from customer. Right. Okay, so let's run this. Yeah. So as you can see over here, we are having customer ID, we are having start time, we are having end time. And as we discussed, basically 7 a.m. is the start time, 9:30 a.m. is the end time. Similarly, for second event, 9:30 a.m. will be the start time and 12 p.m. will be the end time, right? So since we got start time and end time over here, now what is the ask as part of this particular problem? We have to calculate like for how many hours that particular customer or that particular user was active on the website, right? So can I say this thing from this, if I will calculate the difference between start time and end time, right? And then if I will sum the duration for each customer, I will be able to calculate like the active time for a specific customer, right? Let me just quickly show you what I meant to say by that. So I will basically give this as a CTE. So I will use with CTE with let's say this we can give as session pairs, right? As this will be my first CTE, right? Now from this, what we will basically take, we will take a difference between these two, right? So again, we will take everything from this particular CTE. Let me just copy it. Yeah. So I will take customer ID since we have to take this from the above CTE, right? So over here, my start, the column is like start time, right? And similarly, we are having second column as end time, right? And apart from that, what we have to do, we have to basically calculate the difference between these two, right? So in order to calculate difference in SQL, we are having date diff function, right? So date diff, and we have to basically calculate this in minutes, right? So I will use minutes over here as a parameter, right? And then we will give start date, sorry, start time or end time, right? Okay. And this I will give as duration minutes, right? We will take this from session pairs. Okay. So now let's run this where the issue is. So think it's correct. Start time and time. Let's run this now. Okay. Yeah. So as we can see, we are having customer ID, start time, end time, and we are having duration in minutes, right? Now, basically, what we have to basically take, right? We have to take only those users, right? Uh, whose state was active, right? So basically, only those users we have to take which were active on that particular website, right? So over here, we can say like session start state is like basically one, which denotes like session start state, right? And zero denotes like session end state, right? So for that, I will use state in this particular CTE, right? And for that, let's run this once again, and we can take state over here as well. Okay. So let me just run this once again. Yeah, so as you can see, we are having state over here, right? Now, can I say this thing? Like we have to only take those records where like session had started, right? Or basically we have to take only those records where session had like a user was active or like session had started, right? So for that, I will basically filter out where state is equal to 1, right? And we have to basically get rid of these kind of records as well, because let's say if we will subtract these records, we won't get anything, right? Because the duration minutes is null for this, right? So for that, I will say and time is not null, right? So now let me just run this once again. Yeah, so as you can see, we are having state, we are having duration minutes, right? Now, since we don't need state over here, because that won't make any sense. Anyways, we are filtering it out. So I will basically remove it from like select statement. Now, what we have to do? Can I say this thing? Now, basically, our problem got solved. I will sum all of these duration minutes at a customer ID level, right? And then probably we will be able to get like number of active hours for each customer, right? So again, I will basically give this as another CTE. So I will take this as active sessions, right? Right. So let's take this CTE, right? Now we will take select star from active sessions. Okay. Now what we have to do, basically we have to select customer ID, right? And on each customer ID level, we have to calculate like sum of duration minutes, right? For that, I will say cust ID, right? And apart from that, I will use sum of duration minutes, right? And since this is in minutes, we have to basically calculate how many hours it took, right? So we have to divide this by 60. So I'm dividing this by 60 and I will give this as active hours, right? Since we are basically doing aggregation over here, so I will use group by of what? Group by with customer ID, right? Now let's run this and let's see like what will be the output where the issue is again. So it's like active hours from active sessions, group by customer ID. I think it's fine only where the issue is. Let me just run this. Hmm, let me just run this once. Gotcha. Okay. So over here we have to place as. Okay. Sorry, my bad. There was a syntax issue. Okay. Now let's run this once again and we can see. So over here, as we can see, we are having for customer ID 1, total number of active hours was like 5. For 2, it was 4.5. 3, it's like 1.5. Similarly, 4, 2, and 5, like 7.5 hours, right? And that is what like we have to basically calculate as part of this particular problem, right? So yeah, guys, I hope you got to learn something new as part of this particular problem. Let me know in the comment section, like if you like know any other method by which you can solve this particular problem. Yeah, that's all from my side. Thank you, one and all. Have a great day ahead. Bye bye.